Welcome to today's explainer, the spotlight effect, mastering your mind in awkward moments. Okay, so today we're tackling something literally every single one of us has dealt with: sudden social embarrassment. You know the drill. One minute you're just going about your normal routine, totally fine, and the next, bam, you've done something that makes you wish the floor would just open up and swallow you whole. Let's unpack what's actually happening in our brains during these agonizing moments, and more importantly, how you can master your mind so you aren't carrying that heavy burden of cringe around for the rest of the week. So, have you ever said something awkward and immediately wished you could rewind time? I mean, really think about a specific moment for a second. Maybe you're sitting in a dead quiet classroom or a high stakes team meeting at work, and you just confidently blurt out the absolute wrong answer. Remember how it felt like the whole room just paused? It's like time slows down to this agonizing crawl, and it feels as though every single pair of eyes slowly turns to lock directly onto you. It is a completely paralyzing, deeply uncomfortable feeling that just stops you in your tracks. And that feeling triggers this immediate, visceral chain reaction in your body. Step one, your heart starts racing. It goes from a nice, calm, resting beat to pounding out of your chest in a fraction of a second. Step two, your face feels warm. You get that undeniable, burning heat of embarrassment that you just literally can't hide. And then comes step three, which is honestly the worst part. Your brain just keeps replaying the moment over and over and over again. It's this rapid physical and mental panic that basically hijacks your nervous system, trapping you inside your own head while the rest of the world just keeps spinning. But here's the big twist of our explainer today. There is a massive gap between what you think is happening and the reality. What you think is that everyone noticed, and worse, everyone remembers. You're dealing with this intense internal paranoia that you're being heavily scrutinized by everyone around you. But the reality, the comforting, objective truth, is that most people are actually just thinking about themselves. Because while you sit there, totally frozen in embarrassment, here's what's actually on their minds. Your classmates or coworkers are completely distracted. They're worrying about their homework or what they're going to eat for lunch. They're replaying last night's sports highlights, secretly checking messages under the table, or they're just caught up in their own personal worries. They are totally absorbed by their own scattershot everyday thoughts. You might feel like the tragic star of some dramatic play right then, but to them, you are barely a passing blip on the radar. So this terrifying feeling actually has a name. It's called the spotlight effect, which is a psychological phenomenon where your brain makes you feel like you are the center of everyone's attention. And honestly, take some comfort in this. It proves you aren't just being overly anxious or making things up. It is quite literally a biological trick your mind plays on you. It's like having an actual, glowing, theatrical spotlight following you down a dark hallway. That is exactly what your brain perceives as happening, even though everyone else in reality is actually just walking by, totally oblivious to your internal struggle. To really ground us back in reality, let's look at the timeline of this panic because it's actually incredibly reassuring. At 0 minutes, the awkward mistake happens. The stumble, the wrong answer, the spilled coffee, whatever it is. At 1 minute, you are fully bathed in that glowing spotlight of sheer panic. But look at the 5-minute mark. By 5 minutes, the mistake fades away as people just forget. It disappears like smoke in a room. So while you might still be sweating about it an hour later, in the real world, the people around you have already moved on with their normal conversations and their normal day. The objective reality just doesn't match your subjective panic. And why does it fade so fast? Well, your audience is busy worrying about their own mistakes. That's the fundamental reason people forget your slip-ups so quickly. As humans, we're naturally, well, a little self-absorbed. We are entirely consumed by memories of our own embarrassing moments. Literally every single person sitting around you has their own internal spotlight shining right back on them, making them hyper-aware of their own perceived flaws and, thankfully, totally blind to yours. They just do not have the mental bandwidth to care about what you just did. Which brings us to a really powerful final thought to wrap up this explainer. Most people aren't judging you. They're too busy judging themselves. The next time you embarrass yourself, and you know you will, because we all do, remember that your brain is wildly exaggerating the scrutiny of your audience. Understanding this psychological trick, seeing the spotlight effect for exactly what it is the very first step to mastering your own mind and reclaiming your confidence. You have the power to just turn that metaphorical spotlight off and walk away with a smile. So now that you know the spotlight isn't real, what are you going to do with all that newfound freedom?